In 2015, Kylie Jenner caused an eruption on social media, and by 2022, social media had destroyed her entire empire. Kylie's cosmetic line had climbed from nothing all the way to an estimated $420 million in revenue within a mere 18 months. A young entrepreneur who surpassed Mark Zuckerberg at the age of 21 by becoming the youngest self-made billionaire. But then came the plot twist that no one predicted. The very tactics that had made Kylie Jenner seem invulnerable were the same ones that left her unprotected. And by 2023, there were widespread reports that she was attempting to repurchase her own company for the same $600 million she had sold it for only 4 years prior. So, how could a brand that once caused website crashes from overwhelming demand lose almost half of its online income in just 5 years? The explanation goes far beyond a single person or a single corporation. It dives into the harsh economics of having online influence and the reasons why the generation that propelled Kylie to wealth ultimately caused her downfall. On November 30th in 2015, an 18-year-old Kylie Jenner introduced her lip kit on Instagram. It was a simple offering, a matte liquid lipstick paired with a corresponding liner sold directly to consumers online. The kit includes 3 colors, Dolce K, Candy K, and True Brown K, and each kit costs $29. Within moments of the product going live, the website crashed under 60 seconds. Once the site was restored, the entire stock was gone. Every last unit had been sold in a matter of minutes, leaving fans very disappointed. But this launch was different from other celebrity product releases. It wasn't just manufactured buzz, it was genuine conversion. These were not simply fans purchasing a novelty item for one-time use. These were consumers who had a real desire for the product, who had been observing Kylie's lips for months and trying to emulate her signature look. She conducted years of unpaid market research, gathering an audience on Instagram and Snapchat that was already convinced to buy precisely what she was about to sell. The financial figures from those initial 18 months are shocking. By mid-2017, within 18 months, it was reported these lip kits generated $420 million in sales, demonstrating the brand's immediate impact on the beauty market. The strategic launch of limited edition products played a crucial role in creating high demand and driving the brand's early success. To provide some context, this growth rate far exceeded the established legacy plans that had been spent decades building their market presence. The secret to this success wasn't her enormous number of followers, although that was certainly a significant factor she knew how to leverage. The true brilliance was her insight into something that traditionally beauty companies have failed to grasp. It wasn't about the lipstick or foundation, it was about the new identity behind it. Every single purchase from Kylie's Cosmetics was effectively an investment in assessing her identity, in a way, also her self-assurance and her particular idea of beauty. By August of 2017, Forbes magazine was celebrating her as the youngest self-made billionaire in history. This valuation was calculated based on her ownership stake in Kylie's Cosmetics. Following that incredible period of growth, then came the pivotal decision that would alter the course of everything. In November 2019, Kylie made the announcement that she was selling a 51% majority stake of Kylie's Cosmetics to the beauty company Coty for a staggering $600 million. This transaction placed the company's total value at approximately $1.2 million. The sale to Coty was not just about the money, it was about elevating Kylie's Cosmetics to another level, achieving more scale opportunities, expanding distribution networks, and breaking into international markets. Coty made a promise to take Kylie's brand global, to manage the complex logistics of operation so that she could concentrate on the creative direction. In theory, it seemed like a perfect arrangement. What no one could have foreseen was how profoundly this partnership would alter the essential character of the brand itself. But on May 29th in 2020, Forbes released a truly shocking headline. The headline stated, "Inside Kylie Jenner's Web of Lies and Why She's No Longer a Billionaire." They leveled accusations against Kylie and her team, claiming they had inflated revenue numbers and had essentially been dishonest about the company's financial health, stating revenues over a 12-month period preceding the deal $177 million, according to the Coty presentation, far lower than the published estimates at the time. More problematic, Coty said that sales were up 40% from 2018, meaning the business only generated about $125 million that year, nowhere near the $360 million the Jenners had led Forbes to believe. Kylie's skincare line, which launched in May 2019, did $100 million in revenues in its first month and a half, Kylie's reps told us. The filings show the line was actually on track to finish the year with just $25 million in sales. Tax documents revealed significantly lower revenues than what had been publicly stated. Instead of the enormous figures that supported her billionaire status, Forbes proposed that the actual numbers were much smaller. Forbes claimed that questionable tax filings indicated $317 million in sales for 2016, but even that figure seemed exaggerated when compared to what Coty's own financial disclosures would later show. The magazine didn't just call the number into question, they challenged the entire story of Kylie's business resume, and Kylie's reaction was immediate and defensive. She used Twitter to denounce the story as inaccurate, stating that she had never sought any title or attempted to be deceptive. This controversial storyline, stirred by Forbes, was just the start. The more significant issue began to surface with the products themselves. Customers started to report quality control problems that were getting too much attention. A widely reported issue with the batch of lipstick applicators, found to be deficient shortly after launch, triggered genuine anger among her customer base. The $360 cosmetic brush set was met with widespread ridicule for its exorbitant price, particularly after consumers found out that the same laboratory responsible for producing brushes for ColourPop, a well-known budget brand, was also manufacturing Kylie's premium-priced products. Customers were paying a more expensive price for what seemed to be the exact same formulations they could get for a small fraction of the price. Then, the Kylie Swim disaster of 2021 unfolded. Kylie's initial venture into swimwear was met with instant and viral backlash. Customers and influencers inundated TikTok with videos complaining about poor and awkward fits, fabric that was thin and see-through, and stitching that was sloppy and poorly executed. Kylie's team immediately restricted comments on their promotional post, and she largely withdrew from actively promoting the swimwear line. What made Kylie's swim failure so significant was that it revealed how one disastrous product can ripple through and damage an entire brand's ecosystem. When your personal identity is tied so closely to your company's image, every misstep feels like a personal failure. But the beauty industry was undergoing a profound cultural transformation. Gen Z, the very group that had fueled Kylie's meteoric rise, was now developing different standards for what they considered authentic. Research conducted by Morning Consult study shows that Gen Z doesn't value honesty as much as older generations. Yet, they're also less likely to trust brands. This seemingly contradictory attitude created a challenging paradox for marketers. They were a more difficult audience to persuade, but also far more inclined to completely abandon brands that they perceived as inauthentic. The market had become so saturated that it was no longer sufficient for a celebrity to simply put their name on a product. Gen Z now demanded real substance and genuine transparency. The algorithm on TikTok was rewarding a different type of content compared to the carefully curated aesthetic of Instagram. Raw, unedited videos were consistently outperforming the glossy, professional-looking posts from celebrities. The very polish that had once made Kylie an aspirational figure was now having her audience feel disconnected and out of touch with the new content that Gen Z overwhelmingly favored. Kylie's professionally staged photo shoots started to seem disconnected from the authentic, relatable content that was dominating the social media landscape on platforms like TikTok. This cultural evolution was perfectly timed for Kylie's emerging competitors. For example, Rihanna launched a Fenty Beauty in 2017. It had made a dramatic entrance into the market with an unprecedented 50 shade foundation line that completely redefined the concept of inclusivity in the beauty industry. In its first 40 days, Fenty Beauty had made $100 million in sales, and by the end of 2018, Fenty Beauty had brought in nearly $570 million in revenue and was valued at an estimated $2.8 billion. However, Fenty's rapid growth wasn't solely based on its extensive product range. It was built on a foundation set by its strong values. In 2020, Rare Beauty was introduced by Selena Gomez and had a different strategy. That brand set itself apart with marketing and directing a portion of its sales to support mental health initiatives. By 2023, Rare Beauty had achieved approximately $370 million in sales and was valued at around $2 billion in 2024. Selena's own public battle with anxiety resonated deeply and authentically with her fans, the type of genuine connection that was becoming increasingly important in the world of influencer marketing. With this new competitive market, Kylie's brand slowly started to look like just another celebrity-endorsed product line. When Kylie announced in 2024 that Kylie Cosmetics would now be available at Ulta through a partnership with Target, what had once been positioned as an aspirational luxury brand was now being sold as a mainstream retail product, and it seemed that no one was thrilled about it. The operational difficulties were also slowly adding up at the same time. Because of this, Kylie had to transition to new suppliers and different production methods, and Coty shifted the manufacturing operations away from the Seed Beauty, and an internal report later attributed some of the declining revenues to this difficult transition. Long-time, loyal customers began to notice that the product formulations felt different and that the newer products did not have the same quality and impact as the original lip kits. There were also certain roadblocks. For example, California's Proposition 65 regulators served Kylie Cosmetics with 60-day notices for its failure to properly label certain chemicals in its products. The matte liquid eyeshadow was singled out specifically for containing diethanolamine. These weren't just routine procedures, they were public actions showing that institutions were worried about the brand's quality controls. The confluence of all these issues created a perfect storm between the years 2020 and 2022. The financial data tells the story more vividly than any verbal explanation could. Available data indicates that e-commerce revenue for Kylie'sCosmetics.com plummeted from $68.7 million in 2017 to just $36.6 million in 2022. This represents a staggering decline of nearly 50% during a time when overall beauty sales were actually recovering in the post-pandemic market. Industry analytics predicted that this downward trend would continue, with some estimates suggesting that online sales could dip even further to around $29 million by 2024. This was very disappointing for a brand that had, just a few years earlier, set the standard for success in the beauty industry. Executives at Coty made public statements expressing their dissatisfaction with the revenue's performance and announced they were putting cost-cutting measures into place. While Coty doesn't share exact financial numbers for Kylie's Cosmetics, analytics believe the brand has been underperforming, especially as rivals like Fenty continue to grow worldwide. The social media metrics painted a similar picture of decline. Even though Kylie's Instagram following stayed huge, nearly at 400 million followers, her engagement rates had stopped growing and were even starting to take a dip. The combination of declining revenues and fading social media buzz pointed to an unavoidable reality. Kylie's approach to this situation, though, slowly started to make everything worse. During the Forbes investigation, her response had been defensive rather than transparent. Rather than providing real evidence or admitting that the concerns had merit, she highlighted her own achievements and demanded retractions. Her aggressive approach may have satisfied her loyal fans, but it failed to rebuild trust among other doubters. When it came to other issues, like the many complaints about product quality, the response was often passive and evasive. Rather than addressing the concerns directly, Kylie would shift the focus to her personal life or distract with new product launches. To many customers, this approach felt dismissive, as if their valid complaints were being ignored. The brand rarely issued recalls or addressed quality concerns on its own, only responding when outside pressure forced them to act. The difference between her approach and more sophisticated crisis management strategies was stark. Brands like Rare Beauty responded directly to questions about shade range, inclusivity, and companies like Glossier made a habit of interacting with customer feedback on their products. Kylie frequently missed chances to turn controversies into positive stories, instead coming across as defensive, detached, and out of touch. By 2023, things had gotten so serious that reports emerged of Kylie negotiating to repurchase the 51% stake she had sold to Coty for $600 million just 4 years earlier. The very deal that was intended to secure and accelerate her success had in fact sped up her decline. This story extends well beyond one person or one company. Kylie's journey highlights key truths about the economics of influencer-driven brands. Hype can only take a brand so far, while an influencer's name can spark initial viral attention. Keeping a brand successful long-term requires constant innovation, reliable quality, and a real connection with the audience. By 2024, industry insiders observed that Kylie Cosmetics was surviving more on her lingering fame than on any distinctive value of the products. Also, the clash between genuine authenticity and a carefully crafted image creates a nearly impossible tension. Influencer brands thrive only as long as they appear authentic. But when influencers commercialize their brand heavily by selling off majority stakes, expanding into numerous product categories, or adopting corporate structures, their fans often begin to feel that the founder is no longer one of us. The beauty market as well, for these influencers, has become oversaturated. Celebrity status now provides only a little bit of boost over the competition. Fenty and Rare Beauty found success by claiming specific cultural niches that Kylie had not secured for her own brand. By not establishing a clear and distinct purpose beyond simply Kylie's look, the brand made it easy for competitors to win over her audience. The brand's stewardship as well matters a lot. Selling to Coty brought a huge cash boost, but it may have weakened the brand's core identity. Reports that Kylie is planning to buy back her stake indicate she now recognizes that brands like hers needs hands-on founder involvement to remain relevant over time. The remaining question is whether Kylie can reclaim her place at the top or if her brand will mainly become a cautionary example for others. Her more recent business ventures, such as a Sprinter canned cocktails, Kai apparel, and cosmetic fragrance, all indicate that she has not given up on her business goals. But winning back trust means being transparent, ensuring superior product quality, and interacting with her audience in ways that feel real. Another path to success could be to reshape her audience strategy, concentrating on different demographics or fresh market segments. Kylie's journey highlights a critical question for the influencer market. Can brands build on fame surviving long-term without major transformation? The answer to that question will not only shape Kylie's future, but the future of celebrity commerce itself. One thing is clear: her decline has been as instructive as her rise, showing how fast public opinion can shift and how even top stars must continually adapt to thrive in today's demanding social media landscape.